आदरणीय राष्ट्रपति महोदय, यदि आदेश हो तो निर्वाचन आयोग से प्राप्त उपराष्ट्रपति के निर्वाचन का प्रमाणन पढ़ा जाए। यतः भारत के संविधान के अनुच्छेद 324 द्वारा भारत के उपराष्ट्रपति के पद के निर्वाचन का अधीक्षण, निर्देशन और नियंत्रण भारत निर्वाचन आयोग में निहित है और यतः श्री जगदीप धनखड़ द्वारा 2025 के जुलाई मास के 21वें दिन तदनुसार शक संवत के वर्ष 1947 के आषाढ़ मास के तीसरे दिन त्यागपत्र देने के कारण भारत के उपराष्ट्रपति का पद रिक्त हो गया है और यतः भारत के उपराष्ट्रपति के पद को भरने के लिए संविधान तथा राष्ट्रपतीय और उपराष्ट्रपतीय निर्वाचन अधिनियम 1952 के उपबंधों और तदधीन बनाए गए नियमों और आदेशों के अनुसार निर्वाचन करा लिया गया है तथा परिणाम घोषित कर दिया गया है। अब इसलिए भारत निर्वाचन आयोग एतद् द्वारा प्रमाणित करता है कि श्री CP राधाकृष्णन वर्ष 2025 के सितंबर मास के 9वें दिन तदनुसार शक संवत के वर्ष 1947 के भाद्रपद मास के 18वें दिन भारत के उपराष्ट्रपति पद के लिए सम्यक रूप से निर्वाचित हो गए हैं। भारत गणराज्य के 76वें वर्ष में हमारे हस्ताक्षर और भारत निर्वाचन आयोग की मोहर से वर्ष 2025 के सितंबर मास के 9वें दिन तदनुसार शक संवत के वर्ष 1947 के भाद्रपद मास के 18वें दिन प्रदत्त किया गया।
I, Chandrapuram Ponnusamy Radhakrishnan,
do swear in the name of God
do swear in the name of God
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of India
to the Constitution of India
as by law established, and that I will faithfully discharge the duty
and that I will faithfully discharge the duty
upon which I am about to enter. Congratulations.
आदरणीय राष्ट्रपति महोदय, आपका आदेश हो तो आज के समारोह की कार्रवाई समाप्त की जाए।
So India now has its 15th Vice President. CP Radhakrishnan has now taken the oath and he is the new Vice President of India. Droupadi Murmu, Rashtrapati, read out the oath of office to the Vice President-elect, and now you can see Vice President of India leaving the Rashtrapati Bhavan after the oath has been taken. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh, Union Home Minister Amit Shah, BJP President JP Nadda, Nitin Gadkari, Piyush Goyal, the entire senior leadership of the BJP and the NDA in attendance. Also in attendance, Jagdeep, Dhankhar. Payal, 15th Vice President of India, he has to take into account all the aggression that opposition shows in Rajya Sabha, but he already has a strategy in place, it seems.
Yes, CP Radhakrishnan is known as a man who has immense knowledge as far as parliamentary procedures are concerned, because he was very, very effective, according to what the Prime Minister also briefed his party MPs, when he was elected twice from Coimbatore. Having said that, when you come to the House of the Elders, it's a different responsibility altogether. We've seen the acrimony constantly on the rise after 2024 elections as well, because the numbers certainly swelled up in the Lok Sabha and the opposition feels a lot more confident as well. But it needn't be confrontational all the time, in the upper house as well. That is what is really that the government is hoping that CP Radhakrishnan can in fact, speak to multiple leaders in the opposition, draw a sense of, consensus on important issues, take everybody on board as well. And that is something which everybody is hoping that he will be able to do, because he comes in from the grassroots levels, he comes in from the grassroots politics. He understands where this really is coming in from, and therefore the right noises are being made. So today at 12 o'clock, he's called all the Rajya Sabha floor leaders, Arunima, to his parliamentary office, to his chamber. It's a good beginning nonetheless, and also in his oath taking, you do see representation from various political parties. I saw John Bitter sitting over there. I did see Derek O'Brien sitting there. All the NDA chief ministers, barring a couple, have been present, and it's clearly very, very clear that the NDA is going to show its show of strength. And the fact that they're hoping that Jagdeep Dhankhar had a lot of run-ins with the opposition, especially on personal notes and personal comments as well. Hopefully, all of that will be brushed out for now, and it will be a cordial house running from here on, because there are a lot of responsibilities that the Vice President of India has. It's not just about being the chairman of the Rajya Sabha. He is the second most important constitutional post in the country after the President of India. A lot of responsibility, a lot of engagement that the Vice President really has, and that is something we are hoping that he'll be able to execute diligently, given the fact that he's been an excellent governor of Maharashtra. Maharashtra from 3 parties, Arunima had 6 parties, with 2 major parties being split as well. But Mr. Dhankhar has always had a very, very cordial relationship with all of these political parties, whether it was in Maharashtra. And when he was the governor of Jharkhand, it was at a very crucial juncture, and he oversaw Hemant Soren being sent to jail also, although there was no acrimony that the JMM has even spoken about with him.
Okay. Aman, while Payal is dwelling upon the fact that the opposition's run-in with Mr. Dhankhar is something that is on record, but the opposition's relationship with Venkaiah Naidu was also sitting there. Perhaps Mr. Radhakrishnan is going to take a leaf out of the book of Venkaiah Naidu there?
Well, Arunima, see, this is the presence of Mr. Dhankhar and Mr. Naidu or even Hamid Ansari is also as per protocol, since the former vice presidents are always invited for the swearing in of the new vice president, and that is why we see Mr. Dhankhar's presence, of course, is catching the eyeballs since, this was his first public appearance since July 21st when he had resigned as the vice president. He was not seen in the public sphere till then. So this presence is catching eyeballs. But that said, Mr. Dhankhar, Arunima had also issued a letter a few days back, congratulating Mr. Radhakrishnan for his election as the Vice President of India. And going ahead, Mr. Radhakrishnan coming from, the core BJP's ideology, coming from the RSS background. All this BJP, I think, has carefully chosen in this candidature also because they wanted somebody, who was completely from their ideology, so that there are no skirmishes, no misunderstandings in the future, like it emerged in the case of Mr. Jagdeep Dhankhar. That said, Mr. Radhakrishnan's victory, I think, with a thumping margin, also 452 votes, a gap of over 150 votes from the opposition candidate, I think also shows the strength of the NDA in currently. You know, a lot has been said about NDA being dependent on Mr. Nitish Kumar, Mr. Chandrababu Naidu, but how entire NDA stuck together, and even the NDA and the BJP was able to convince at least a dozen MPs from across the aisle to also vote as per their conscience for Mr. Radhakrishnan speaks a lot about how the NDA has been able to rally its forces. Is definitely a big setback to the opposition bloc in these vice president elections.
But do you think all the allegations that have been made, Abhishek Banerjee even alleging that 15 to 20 crore rupees have been paid to secure this vice presidential election in favor of CP Radhakrishnan, now that the oath has been taken, you think all of this is history? The discordant note will not be struck whenever the next session of Parliament begins?
Well, clearly, you see, I think these allegations which came from Abhishek Banerjee or some other quarters seem to be completely unfounded. You know, there is no evidence to suggest anything like that happened. And two, I would say even some many in the BJP call these as irresponsible comments trying to question the sanctity, you know, of the vice president election which had happened. You know, there is no whip in a vice president election. MPs can vote across the aisle. We've seen that happen earlier also in earlier elections. Not the first time, you know, votes are also declared invalid. As in earlier elections, you know, even in the election of Mr. Dhankhar or Mr. Venkaiah Naidu, I remember 10 to 15, votes being declared invalid. So I think the opposition is trying to smell conspiracies where they don't exist, rather than introspect on what really went wrong in their own camp. How did their votes reduce from 315 to 300? So BJP has been saying that, you know, an opposition which has been screaming vote chori should in fact look inside and introspect on what went wrong inside their own camp.
Okay, Payal, help us understand the style of functioning that CP Radhakrishnan had. Mr. Dhankhar was very vocal. He would in fact communicate on all big issues. Judiciary, for example, he had his opinion. He wanted to take the house on that. But what is CP Radhakrishnan's style like?
Well, we see CP Radhakrishnan comes in, you know, from a very, very humble background. He began his political journey at the age of 16, you know, when he started at the district level with the RSS. That is the background that he's coming in from. And, you know, you've seen, Arunima, over the years, there are many governors who always, probably were more than happy in speaking on multiple issues, including in some occasions on controversial issues as well. But Mr. CP Radhakrishnan is quite different from that. In that sense, he's adhered to his protocol. He understands that he occupies a ceremonial post. He understands that he occupies a constitutional post as well. And therefore, he's been very, very measured in his response. Even now, after winning his election, he just hoped that, there will be better sense of semblance in the House. Even while he was speaking to us, right after being elected, he said that he would like to take everybody together as well. And like you mentioned, that there's a lot of similarity between Mr. CP Radhakrishnan and Venkaiah Naidu. Both of them come in from the same ideological parenthood. Both of them have risen up the ranks as far as that is concerned. Of course, Mr. Venkaiah Naidu is a politician, hardcore politician who also was the president of the BJP at one point in time as well. But when he occupied the chair of the chairman of the Rajya Sabha, he adhered to the constitutional position as well. He stayed away from making comments on several issues, especially the judiciary, etc., which Mr. Dhankhar really did, sometimes putting the government in a spot of bother. That is something which has also been witnessed, and also the kind of acrimony that you saw in the Rajya Sabha, more to do with one side versus the other. But Mr. Dhankhar was also involved in a lot of personal feud between people. His confrontation with Jaya Bachchan, for example, is something that everybody knows. His constant run-ins with Mallikarjun Kharge, to an extent that Mallikarjun Kharge really went on to blame him and said that he was being disrespected because he was a Dalit. So all of these things have been witnessed as well. Mr. CP Radhakrishnan, we are given to understand, is not going to be somebody who will engage in this kind of whataboutery or, getting into a confrontation at a personal level with people. And like I said, in Maharashtra, he was somebody who had witnessed, split of two major parties into two different parties as well. So that's been the way it is. But he's had cordial relations with everybody. And therefore, many within the NDA think that, people, according to their conscience, decided to vote for him. Okay. Mind you, there is also a voter from DMK who's voted for Mr. CP Radhakrishnan's candidature.
Aman, Payal mentioned Mr. Kharge. I couldn't spot him or Rahul Gandhi there. Protocol-wise, if they were present, they should have been seated in the front row itself, isn't it?
Well, I can't see them, Runima, yet in the pictures that I have seen. I could not spot the LOP in those pictures yet, or Mr. Kharge. So we'll have to wait and see and confirm from the Congress whether they indeed came. But as we all know, that there has been a lot of acrimony between both the sides. Both the LOPs were also absent, in fact, this year from the Independence Day celebrations at the Red Fort, which is also pretty unprecedented. So I think a lot of a lot of animosity between both the sides. Even during the vice president elections, we saw that level of animosity between both the sides. But the NDA, I feel, was out in full strength, as Payal was explaining. You can see Mr. Chandrababu Naidu, the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, all the various NDA partners are present there. So NDA has put up a show of strength as in the elections, and everybody, flying in today from various states also, NDA partners, to be a part of this particular ceremony. But the opposition, which had almost always, described Mr. Radhakrishnan and as RSS man and said that they are against this ideology. For this particular reason, they will not support Mr. Radhakrishnan. I think if they have skipped the ceremony, as we believe, and we can't see them in the pictures yet, it only goes on to reinforce the kind of bitterness which has emerged between the NDA and the INDI camp.
Well, Pallavi is telling us that Mr. Kharge was there in attendance, but we couldn't spot him in the visuals. Rahul Gandhi, we don't have a confirmation yet whether he was present, not visible in these pictures that were beamed live from Rashtrapati Bhawan. Aman, Payal, thank you so much for joining us. India has the 15th Vice President. CP Radhakrishnan has been sworn in. If you want to know more about his background, do log in to news18.com.